Have you been feeling like content is just missing something these days? Almost like that thing that used to make it feel so special is just missing right now. And I think that element that is missing is soul. And in this video, I want to do something a little bit different than normal. I have 3 commitments that I want you and I to make together to bring soul back into our content. And if we can bring it back into our content, maybe we can impact others to do the same. And the first thing that I want to talk about real quick before we go into these 3 commitments is, what does soul mean? What do I mean by soul in the context of your personal brand, in the context of making content? And really, I believe all soul is just content that only you can make, that only you can speak to, and bringing out elements of us as a human, which you're hearing me talk more and more about, into our content to bring that soul. Like, for example, we're out here in this epic, beautiful view, Monument Valley in Utah. I love being out in nature. I love being at these epic landscapes. And so this is bringing in an element of me. This is my soul that we're adding into this video. The fact that I have my dog Bugsy here, my little golden doodle, 2 years old. We'll see how well he behaves throughout this. This is what is bringing soul into my content. And so I want us to be on the same page there so that we can understand what we are committing to bringing back. We're bringing back content that only you can make, not what everybody else can make. And it starts with no longer regurgitating the same generic advice that everybody else is giving. The first commitment I want us to make here, it's a big one, because as insane as it sounds, this is at critical mass right now. Everybody is regurgitating the same generic advice, the same 3 steps for blank. And I don't want to see this anymore. Nobody wants to see this anymore. You need to switch it up and start giving advice through your lived experiences, your expertise. I made a post recently on my Instagram kind of talking about this, and the comments were just flooded with people saying how exhausting it is to consume content these days and how just absolutely obnoxious it is, because nobody is saying anything new or novel. Yet those are the very things that are going to stand out. Those are the things that we as consumers, I consume content, we are hungry for that. We are hungry to hear your experience, your lessons, your takeaways from what you have actually done. This is one-of-one content that only you can make. And if we're approaching it this way, we're building a brand that is not interchangeable. It's not like it can just be interchanged with any other personal brand in our space. But right now, if you are just using the same fucking transcript as every other character in your niche, in your space, guess what? You're not going to stand out in any way, shape, or form, and neither are they. And so I need you to flip the script. The commitment we're making is we are now going to, actually, I'm going to give you a crazy homework assignment here. For the next 3 months, I want you to go extreme. I want you to go cold turkey. I don't want you to go to a competitor's video, rip the transcript, and then do the same exact video for yourself. I want everything that you do for the next 3 months to come from your own experience, your own lens, your own filter. I don't care if it's not previously validated by somebody else who has created it. I want you to share your shit. Now, eventually you can get to the point where you apply nuance to this and you are able to see like, oh, I liked this video. I want to do my own version of this. And that is, of course, totally fine. I'm not saying there's any problem with that, but we need a massive overcorrection in order to get to the point where we are doing this at the ratio that is actually useful and helpful for our audience. Again, we're doing this in a selfish manner. He fucking hates it. So do I. It's such a selfish thing. We're doing this with the intent of what we want, our outcome, our selfish desire first, not our audience's need. When you switch and you flip the script to optimizing your content for what your audience needs first, not what you need first, you win. I know this is so weird. Bugsy has been in one video before. There's a podcast on my YouTube channel between Trevor and I, and Bugsy makes some occasional special appearances, but I figure we need some takes from Bugsy. Bugsy, what do you think? Stop being a reporter sharing the news and start being the person who is making the news. Don't regurgitate the same generic bullshit everybody else is sharing. Actually make shit and then share what you did to accomplish that. And by no means am I saying that you should start making shit up. You need to do shit. If you haven't done shit, your anecdote to accomplish what I'm saying here is you need to first go do some epic shit. And epic is relative. Epic in the broad scheme of humanity, that's a big bar. But epic in terms of maybe being a college student that is going to college full-time and doing this, or raising a family full-time and doing this, that can be a reason. Now, the second commitment that I want us to make is also going to feel wild. This is a big challenge that I'm posing to myself and to you. And I want to make sure it's super clear. This is not just to you. I'm speaking to myself as well. Like, I am very human. I very much gravitate towards these natural human tendencies here. We are going to stop optimizing for audience retention, and we're going to start optimizing for audience application. This is going to piss off so many people in the industry, so many strategists. And I want to give a quick caveat before I really go in on this. I'm not saying that you don't want to retain viewers. Obviously, we want people watching our shit. The only way they're going to actually apply what we're saying is if they watch it. And so obviously keeping your audience's attention is important. But I think we've gotten to this point where we are wildly over-optimizing. I mean, like, we are heavy on the optimizations. And I am all for making content that has a higher likelihood of succeeding and performing well and getting to the intended viewer. But I think we have taken it way too far, and we've gotten to this point where we are now almost, our retention optimization is just distractions. We're just trying to distract the audience from being distracted, to keep them from clicking on one of the videos on the side, or answering one of the text messages that they get, or one of the Slack messages that they get, or the Instagram notification, or the millions of other things competing for their attention. I'm sure you probably have experienced this. I know recently I've been noticing I'm watching videos, and maybe I'm watching the whole entire video, but then when I get done, I have no fucking clue what just happened, and my behavior changes in no way, shape, or form. What that is a sign of to me is that the creator optimized for retention. They kept me around the whole time, but they were distracting me to keep me retained. And by distracting me, they distracted me from the learnings. They distracted me from what I needed to do, what I need to actually apply, what I needed to take action on. That was not clear. It comes back to the thing I said in the last commitment that we're making, which is we're optimizing for what we get out of it more than we're optimizing for what the audience gets out of it. And I'm just going to say it. I think that's pathetic. I think that is wildly selfish, and I think it is so short-sighted. I think we need to start optimizing our content to make it easier for the audience to understand what they need to do to take action, change the behavior, and get the outcomes that we are trying to help our audience achieve. That's how you build trust. You set expectation of a problem, you help them solve it. By them solving it, they now trust that you can help them solve their problems. It's fucking crazy. Even at the expense of some of these more vanity metrics that I do care about, views, retention, these matter, okay? So I'm not saying to completely discard them. I'm just saying, instead of having audience retention be number one in your optimization ladder of priorities, I want audience application to be number one. Maybe make audience retention number two, but make the overall goal of the video to make it easier for the audience to know what to do so they can get the outcomes you are trying to help them achieve. The first 10 years, 12 years of my career, I was an editor, and I loved using all of the fancy techniques that I could. But as I got more mature in my editing, I started to realize that the best form of an edit is never commented on. Nobody acknowledges a great edit. If people are acknowledging your edit, they were too distracted by the edit and they didn't get the meat of what was actually being delivered in the video. And so for all of you out there who are doing your darndest to make sure that there is a new graphic every 10 or 15 seconds in your YouTube video, I would encourage you to think through the filter of, does this graphic make it easier for my audience to actually understand what I want them to do? If it doesn't, I would not include it. Okay. Now there's obviously special circumstances where maybe we got to cover a cut or whatever. Those, I understand that. I have complete empathy for that. But other than those cases, you are more than likely just distracting your audience away from the learnings. And so it's going to make it harder for them to take action. They're going to trust you less. They watch your content, but they don't get any results from it. And this third commitment is one that I am getting louder and louder about, and I'm going to continue to get louder because I think it's becoming more and more relevant as we have more people building their personal brand and more AI-generated content, AI-generated answers, information from AI. The most important thing is to be human as fuck. And so the commitment The third commitment we are making is we're going to stop hiding these things that make us human. We're going to stop giving in to our insecurities. We're going to stop believing the fear that people are not going to take us seriously, that they don't give a shit, that they're going to think less of us by sharing this. In reality, that's not how relationships are formed. I've talked about this many times with the relationship sphere and interest stacking. If you look at relationships in your real life, like I'm talking your offline life, more than likely, the closer they get in the relationship sphere, the more interests or values that you have stacked in common with them. I always talk about how, your acquaintances in your life, you probably have one thing in common. Your best friend, you probably have many things in common. I want to start, and I am doing this. You're probably noticing it in my content. I am trying to figure out, because it's kind of hard to diagnose yourself, but what are all the little quirks, isms, and interests and values that I have that I can start to bring into the content to stack interests with you so that you and I can have a closer relationship. If you are like, sell me, that whole sell me this pen, sell me on why I should introduce my human elements into my content. Well, I'll give you a couple of reasons. One, you're going to fucking enjoy it more. Okay. This is way more fun than renting a boring all white background studio. I love this shit. Okay. We're going to film a couple more little shorts, some ads and stuff after this. And then I'll probably crush a pre-noon beer out here and enjoy the view for a second. This is fucking awesome. I'm going to walk my dog around. He's chilling. He's getting to hang out. This is so much fun. And I'm branding content creation as fun because what is branding? It's a pairing of things. And I'm pairing content creation, something that is historically for a lot of people not very fun or stressful or nerve inducing. And I'm pairing it with something that I really enjoy. How can I feel nervous out here? Do you hear that? It is so quiet and calm. I also like really loud environments like metal shows. We have been talking over and over about how do we make a video at a metal show while I'm in the pit? Be very tough on audio. But these are the things that I'm trying to tell you, this makes it fun. I look forward to these shoots. So that's one thing. The second thing that I want to share or sell you with is the whole interest stacking thing. Think about when you were in school, when you were a kid, when you went from elementary school to junior high and you're in this new school and some of the kids, some of them are from other schools that you didn't know. You have a lot of things that you don't know about each other, but maybe you show up wearing your favorite NBA team jersey or your favorite band shirt. You're showing things that you're interested in visually. And maybe you start talking about it. And over time, you start to notice that other kids are into those same things. And this is how cliques or groups are formed. These, the jock clique, the goth clique, the chess kids. These are all groups of people that are together because of a common interest, okay? And so the more of these that you can stack with your audience, the closer, the more depth of relationship that you can have. When Trevor and I first met each other, all we had in common was that we were working on a video project together. But over time, we started to see that we thought similarly. We had similar curiosities and questions around content, around things that we're performing. We also were interested in business content. We were interested in marketing. And we started having more things that we stacked in common. We both love being out in nature. These are things that deepened the relationship between Trevor and I. Me sharing all of these little things in all of the videos that we try to share, I'm trying to build more depth with you. The thing that I want you to do is I want you to sit down and identify what are three things, three human elements. Maybe it's values that you hold or interests and obsessions that you have. What are three things that over the next 3 videos that you make, you can actually integrate? Notice that I'm not making a video about Monument Valley. I'm not making a video about Bugsy. I'm not making a video about some of my camping equipment, okay? I'm integrating them into the content. They're showing up while I'm sharing useful, valuable information on how you can build a strong personal brand. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to identify the 3 things that you can integrate into your next 3 videos, because we are done hiding what makes us human. We are bringing the full human out in order to stand out and build more depth and loyalty with our audience. The thing to be very clear on here is when you're integrating your human elements into your content, they need to be integrated. They need to be an element of your video, not the main character. They are a side character, okay? They need to be the Oscar in The Office. It's not the Michael Scott here. They need to be the Oscar. Oscar's one of my favorite characters. And so we care deeply about this, but it is not the main thing that we are here for. You now have a good understanding of why your content and why everybody else's content around you has been lacking soul. The next thing that you need to learn is the 3 most common mistakes people make in building their personal brand. Do not make these mistakes and build a brand that you are going to fucking hate and regret later. Click here to watch.
That was great.
You ready?